What is this place?
I'll be asking the questions here. Tell me about the plans.
The 5-year plans?
The ones instituted by Stalin in 1928?
Of course.
Well, when Tovarich Stalin first came up with the plans, I remember the uproar it caused. They didn't think it was possible to wipe capitalism's influence from the Union. Even Gosplan, the Soviet Planning Committee, was skeptical. To try and make up for decades, advancement in 5 years seemed mad.
And?
He wanted an increase in industry. It was much to ask. How industry boomed. It was amazing.
Stalin demanded a 200% increase in iron production, a 335% increase in electrical power, and a 110% increase in coal production. In the beginning, the Soviets were producing 5 billion kilowatts a year. In 1937, their energy production increased to 36 billion kilowatts a year. Iron production more than quadrupled. The Belomor Canal connected the White Sea and Lake Onega for the first time, all in less than a decade.
Industry boomed, yes, but at what cost? How many people died in the factories and coal mines to achieve this? I lost friends and family to poor working conditions.
The 5-year plans were not only about industrialization, yes? Stalin ordered the collectivization of farmlands as well.
Yes, as I mentioned before, the goal is to remove any traces of capitalism from the Union. And what better way to do it than collectivizing the farms?
The increase in agriculture Stalin demanded after the collectivization of farms was too much. The kulaks.
Those were previously the wealthier farmers.
They were forced to work. Almost a third of the grain crops were lost during the first plan.
This led to the Soviet Union's famine?
Yes, it started in 1932 and ended the following year.
What happened to the kulaks?
Collectivization. Some were killed while trying to resist. Others were sent away to the work camps.
They took their land and forced them to work on their state-operated farms. In the beginning, Stalin said only 20% of them would be collected, but 20% wasn't enough. Now nearly 97% of their households are collectivized. Private ownership of land in the Soviet Union was terminated.
If so many of these kulaks are working, why was there famine?
They protest. Sometimes they're violent and people are killed.
What about the factory workers?
In most Soviet factories now, there's a board. It shows the production for each worker. The ones who are unsuccessful in the factory are humiliated, while the ones with the poorest records sometimes disappear. Other factory workers push themselves too far. It's not a good position to be in.
It seems very harsh.
For some, the more privileged citizens, those who are involved with the Soviet leadership, live an easier life. There are positions available for the women who can work. Some are even doctors and scientists.
Interesting. That would be all.
There were a total of 13 5-year plans, most of which focused on increasing heavy industry in the USSR. The success of these plans varied greatly. The plans were instituted over a span of 63 years and ended with the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, the year in which the 13th plan was to begin.
While industry skyrocketed and allowed technology to reach areas previously untouched by industrialization throughout the USSR, the agriculture in the Soviet Union suffered, and the poor working conditions and lack of food for the people led to the deaths of thousands to reach Stalin's quotas. The industrialization helped in developing the nation but truly harmed those who were forced to work in the factories, state-run farms, coal mines, and other places where the brunt of the blow of industrialization occurred. Stalin's 5-year plans helped the state of his nation in some aspects, but truly injured the people of the Soviet Union.